Hey there, Emmanuel here from WebDevFuel and welcome back. Now in today's video you're going to learn exactly how you can implement multiple websites, multiple Next.js websites in a single Ubuntu server instance. Now if you're not aware exactly why I'm doing this video, I'm going to go ahead and explain. Now in a previous video I went ahead and explained step by step exactly, and I'm going to leave a link somewhere up here. I explained to you exactly step by step how you can implement a Next.js website using an Ubuntu server without having to use Vercel to deploy that website. And I went ahead and I explained to you how you can use NGINX and PM2, which is a daemon, so more specifically a tool that allows you to run processes as a daemon in the background. And using both of those tools, so PM2 and NGINX, we went ahead step by step and we went through that process of deploying a Next.js website. Now, one question that people asked me in the comments, and I didn't thought about it beforehand, was that some of you might want to deploy multiple websites on that single Ubuntu server, and I forgot that actually it is not just as simple as just copying some config files and duplicating them. We actually need to go ahead and do a couple of different things, and that's exactly why I'm doing this video. So with that in mind, let's get started. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to hop on to the terminal. So as you can see here, I'm now SSH'd into the server, and if you don't know exactly how to do that, you can go ahead and again watch the previous video that I did. I'm going to leave it in the comments below and somewhere up here, and then you can come back to this video and continue. Now I'm at the current moment SSH here into the server, and I'm going to simply go ahead and navigate here to the var directory and then to www. Now inside this directory, as you can see, at the moment I have currently two different websites set up, which is the demo website number 1 and the demo website number 2. And as you can see here inside the browser, we have here demo-website-2.webdevfuel.com. And as you can see, it tells us here, welcome to demo website 2. And if we refresh, we can see that the same text remains here. And if we move here to this tab, which is the demo website 1, as you can see, it simply displays here a welcome message that says welcome to demo website 1. And if you move back here to our terminal and I cd, for example, into the demo website 2, and then I go to the pages, and then if we preview here, let's say the index file, which is the file, the page file that is making this page here display. If we go ahead and we navigate here to this website, as you can see, it says here welcome to demo website 2, and that's exactly what's happening. So we have two different domain names that have two different websites attached to it, and two different NGINX configuration files, and also two different PM2 processes attached to it. Now, the first thing that we want to do is let's go ahead and cd back here inside this folder, and let's go ahead and clone here, first of all, the project. Now, what we want to do, and again, if you didn't go ahead and watch the previous video, go ahead and do that. But what we're specifically doing here is we're going to go ahead and clone a Next.js project, which this one is simply a Next.js process made from scratch, which doesn't have any changes made to it. And we're simply going to git clone it inside the demo website 3, which is going to be the third website that is going to be available to us inside of this server. Now with this in mind, since we're using sudo, because we are inside of this path, we need to clone this using the sudo command, and then we need to type our sudo password, and after that, as you can see, it is simply going to go ahead and clone into this folder. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and give our current user access and privilege to modify and to delete and to create stuff inside of this folder. Now, if you are not aware which user you are currently signed in as, you can simply go ahead and type who am I, and Ubuntu is going to tell you here which user you are currently logged in as. And as you can see, it tells me here that it is the user Emmanuel. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and type the following. We need to type first of all sudo and then chown. So we essentially need to change the user that owns this file. We also want to type in here the flag of R, which needs to be a capital R in order to essentially recurse over these entire folders. So all of the folders inside of this folder and all of its files. And then you can go ahead and simply type in here website, demo website free. So with that in mind, alright, so we have here some kind of mistake. So what's missing here is our user that we want to give access to this folder. So let's go ahead and type this again. So it needs to be again sudo chown and then the flag R, and then we need to type in here the user and also the group, which is going to have the same user, the same name as the user, which is by default what Ubuntu does once we create new users. So now with this done, so now this is how you should go ahead and type this. So again, sudo chown, then the R flag, the capital R, in order to make this recursive, and then passing here your username twice with the 2 dots in the middle, and then go ahead and type the folder that you've cloned this as. So now if we go ahead and we type in here ll, as you can see, the Emmanuel user and the Emmanuel group owns this folder. So now the next step is for us to go ahead and copy our previously created NGINX config folder and go ahead and delete the SSL part, which is the last part. Again, if you go ahead and you watch the entire previous video that I did, you'll see that adding an SSL certificate is the last part, and then certbot is going to go ahead and make some changes. So here's exactly what I mean by this. First of all, let's go ahead and cd into the ATC folder and then inside the NGINX folder. And then inside our sites available, as you can see, again, at the moment we have in here the demo website 1 and the demo website 2. Now let's go ahead and simply take a look at exactly how both, so one of these files look. And as you can see, we have here this entire block, which is what we need to exactly what we need to duplicate this as, and then we need to also go ahead and remove all of this SSL part, which is going to then be recreated with a new domain name and all of that good stuff. So with this in mind, let's go ahead and as a sudo with the sudo command, so we need to do this as root, and then let's go ahead and copy this file, which is going to be the demo website 2 into a newly created config file, which is going to be the demo website 3. Now let's go ahead and edit this newly created file. Okay, so as you can see, we have in here the server block, which is the block that we previously have created, and I went step by step in the previous video exactly how to create. But what we essentially need to do again is go ahead and copy here the listen 80, which is essentially the port in which this server block is going to listen, and then we also need to go ahead and delete this entire block right here, and we also want to go ahead and delete all of this part, which is again the SSL configuration. And now we are left off with exactly the same configuration file that we previously created in the previous video. Now with this in mind, we need to go ahead now and simply modify here a couple of different things. Now first of all, we need to go ahead and modify here this part, which is the server name. So we, instead of having either the demo website 2.1 or demo website 2, we need to go ahead and use the demo website 3 subdomain, which for your case might be a different domain or a different subdomain. So you need to go ahead and type in here exactly what someone is going to type in their browser in order to go ahead and access your website. Now in here on the alias, and actually I've made here a mistake when setting this up and preparing for this video, but you need to go ahead and add in here essentially the same path to your to the folder that we've just created. So again, inside the var and then inside the www folder, we've just went ahead and created the demo website 3 folder, and you need to name this one the exact same thing that we went ahead and named that folder. And now finally, and this is one of the most important things that you need to keep in mind, is that because we are using a proxy path in order to make sure that we are able to access this server, we need to go ahead and make sure that the port that we define in here doesn't conflict with any of the previously created websites that we currently have inside of this Ubuntu server. Now, here's exactly what this means. The first website that I went ahead and created inside of this server used the port 3000, which is by default the port that NextJS defines for us. Then the next demo website that I've created, which was the one that we've copied the configuration file into this configuration file, was the port 3001, and I'm going to in just a second show you exactly how you can define that. But what we now want to go ahead is set up here a port that is not being used. Now to make sure that we keep this simple, we can simply go ahead and define here as 3002. And again, this is everything that we need to make sure that we are able to copy a configuration file from a previously created NextJS website on NGINX, and then make sure that we make all of the changes. So again, let's go over really quickly. So first of all, make sure that you define your server name, and then in here on the next static path, we need to make sure that we define the correct folder in here, and also go ahead and define here a port, which is the same port, and you need to keep this port in mind because this is the port that we're going to be using in just a second in order to spawn a new Next.js website. And with this in mind, go ahead and simply save this file. So I'm going to just type in here this vim command. If you're using Nano or another editor inside your terminal, you simply need to go ahead and just save this file. Now, just like in the previous video, we need to go ahead and symbolically link between the sites available configuration file and the sites enabled configuration file in order to make sure that NGINX knows that this site is now enabled and it can use this configuration file on our Ubuntu server. So at the current moment, this is only inside the sites available, and you can have in here a bunch of different websites. But again, in order to make sure that this is enabled, we actually need to symbolically link. Now, it is not mandatory that we symbolically link, but this is usually the pattern that is used inside of NGINX. Now, with this in mind, let's simply go ahead and type in here. Actually, the first one needs to be the sites available, and then demo website free, and then ATC NGINX sites enabled, and then you can simply leave it like that, and this is going to simply copy the file inside of this folder. Now, if you go ahead and we navigate in here to the sites enabled, as you can see, we have in here 3 different configuration files, and the last one, which is the one that we just copied, right, symbolically linked actually right now. And finally, in order to make sure that NGINX picks up this configuration file, we simply need to go ahead and using the system control command, we need to go ahead and restart NGINX. So now this essentially means that NGINX now is aware that this file demo website free is a file that needs to be used inside essentially of NGINX. Now we can navigate back to the folder of our website. So again, var www and then demo website free, and then inside of this folder, just like in the previous video, we need to go ahead and first of all type yarn in order to make sure that all of the dependencies are fetched and installed. So let's just wait a second for that to happen. And then after typing yarn, or you can simply go ahead and use npm install, we need to go ahead and build this website. So again, this is the Next.js website. We first of all need to go ahead and build it, and then we can run it. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and simply type yarn build. So now with the website built, it means that we can go ahead and run this website. Now, usually we would go ahead and simply type in here yarn start, but because we are using PM2, we need to go ahead and use PM2 in order to make that happen. Now, first of all, let's go ahead and simply take a look at exactly what's happening at the moment inside of PM2. And if we go ahead and type in here PM2 list, we can see that at the moment we have 2 different websites running. And as you can see, the status is online. Now, the first one again is demo website 1, and then we have in here demo website 2. Now the command that we need to make sure to run in order to make sure that NextJS starts and is running in the background, again the reason we are using PM2 is because we don't need to have a bunch of different processes running, and we don't have to look for the exact ID of the process, kill it, and all of that stuff. PM2 does all of that for us automatically, which is really cool. And after, for example, rebuilding our project, we can simply go ahead and just restart, and all of the changes are picked up. So that's exactly why we are using PM2. So with that in mind, let's simply go ahead and type in here PM2 start. Then we need to go ahead and tell PM2 exactly what we need to start. So it is going to be yarn. We also need to go ahead and pass in here the flag of name to tell exactly what the name of this website is. So again, this is just the internal name that PM2 uses once we, for example, list in here the website, or we want to stop it or restart it. So just to make this simple, we're going to keep it the same name as the folder. And then we need to pass in here the flags, which are going to be the flags that we need to pass inside of yarn. Now in here, this is going to be start. And then we need to go ahead and pass an additional flag, which is the flag that is going to define the port that we need to run NextJS on. Now keep in mind that we've defined inside the NGINX file the port 3002. So in order to make sure that we do that, simply go ahead and type in here the flag of P, and then go ahead and type 3002. And now with this command typed, we can go ahead and simply press enter, and as you can see, we have in here 3 different websites at the moment, which is the demo website 1, the demo website 2, and the third one, which is the demo website 3. And now if we navigate back here to our browser, as you can see, we not only have in here the demo website 1, the 2, but we also have the number 3, which I didn't create any changes inside of the project, so it simply has in here welcome to Next.js. Now with that in mind, let's go ahead and also go over exactly what we need to do in order to make sure that we have an SSL certificate for this website. So just like on the previous video, we simply need to go ahead and type in here certbot, and then the flag in here of NGINX, meaning that we want to use NGINX to define all of the redirection stuff and all of the configuration. And then we simply need to pass in here the domain, which is going to be demo website free.web.devfuel.com. So with this in mind, let's go ahead and run this command. And again, this is the exact same command that we previously run on the video that I went over exactly how to set up the Ubuntu server from scratch, how to create all of this stuff from scratch. And I've also explained exactly what the configuration file includes, why it includes all of that stuff. So if you want to go more in depth, again, watch the previous video and then come back to this video. But as you can see, we have in here now 2 different choices, which is to redirect or not. And I'm going to simply press 2 in order to make sure that this redirects. And now if we cd back inside of the NGINX folder and we go to the sites available, and we simply get in here the demo website free, as you can see now this looks exactly like the previous file that we've copied to this file, meaning that it not only has in here the block with all of the configuration, again the port 3002, demo website free, which is the domain name, but it also has in here all of the SSL configuration. And now if we navigate back here to our browser, as you can see, if we refresh, we now also have in here an SSL certificate, meaning that this site is using HTTPS and it is secure. So again, as you can see, even though it is very simple, it still includes a few more steps in order to make sure that you can run multiple websites, multiple Next.js websites inside one Ubuntu server. So again, keep in mind, we simply need to change the domain name, we need to change the folder name inside of the configuration file, and we also need to make sure that we define inside the proxy path the port, and then once we start the process using PM2, we also need to pass in the port flag in order to make sure that NextJS starts the website with that flag. So with this in mind, let me know in the comments below exactly what you liked about this and also what kind of content you want to see from this channel in the future. And thank you so much for watching this video.